So I had filmed this video earlier as I was doing my makeup, and I just came to a point where I was like, I don't actually think I had as great of an experience in college as I make it out to be. And that's okay. A lot of people don't have good college experiences and a lot of people do. So I think I'm somewhere in the middle, but it was something that I feel like I had to talk about. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Maddy V. So if you're new here, hi. If you're old here, hi. I am Maddy V. I'm a 24-year-old girl just going through life in the middle of a pandemic, literally trying to figure out who she is. So the reason why I am emphasizing so much on my intro today is because I really don't know who I am. This is like TMI, but I have some like identity issues just because growing up was very weird for me, being a Korean woman adopted by a Filipino and Caucasian woman, like growing up Jewish in a rural town with pretty much only white people, and then going to college and just starting life all of a sudden. I think I just had a different experience from people, and I had a lot of realizing to do, just as everyone else does as they're coming of age. But obviously this is my journey, no one else's. So I just wanted to emphasize that because this story coming up is not anything I ever thought I was ever gonna talk about. I love to mask things by talking about the fun parts and all of the good stuff and positivity and everything like that. But what I've been noticing lately, and especially in 2020, is the reality of things. And sometimes the reality of a lot of situations come at times that you don't want them to. So in general, going through sorority recruitment, I was a normal person. I didn't know anything about the Greek system. I knew absolutely nothing. I did summer advantage. A few weeks after graduating from high school, I actually moved to Washington and moved into a dorm there, met a bunch of friends. I started college early. I really just wanted to get the ball moving. I wanted to get out of my hometown. I wanted to just start a future for myself, and yeah. So obviously over summer advantage the topic of sorority recruitment came up, and I had never heard of it. I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. I had to get outfits. I had to figure out, you know, everything about sorority recruitment. I didn't know anything about the houses, chapters going in. I just was really like a free spirit going in. I assumed very naively that, you know, every house is good. Everywhere you go, you'll meet your sisters. Everything is gonna be super fine and fun and dandy, and it was not that. The first thing I noticed is that sororities are toxic. Sororities and fraternities are so toxic. It's all about looks, money. It doesn't matter who you are as a person. If you're pretty and you have money, boom, you're gonna be successful. I wasn't known in Washington. I wasn't known. I didn't have any legacy. I didn't have anything. So they knew nothing about me. I had wiped out all my social media before I went to college because I wanted to start over. They had nothing to stalk, nothing. Like, I was a brand new human. So I got the most authentic version of sorority recruitment, and where I ended up is where I ended up. And I think I ended up in the right place. But what I don't really like about where I ended up is that every single person who walked through that door felt like they were not good enough because they were joining that chapter. And maybe not everyone, but I know a fat chunk of people were like, was not my first choice, or this was not the house that I wanted to be in, or blah 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 blah, or everyone says that this is like a bottom house, or why are we last in grades, or this or that. I was really disappointed right off the bat. I remember going to my first frat party, Paige and I went, and the boys were so mean. I remember at another party being told that I was too fat. The floorboards in the party room couldn't hold my weight. I was literally just in college to have a good time, to meet friends, to get an education, and to leave. I did not realize going into college that these were going to be the most traumatic 4 years of my whole life. And yes, trigger warning to sexual assault, to drugs, drinking, like assault in general, just, yeah, this is the truth. This is the truth of what it was like to be in a sorority from my eyes, my perspective. So my freshman year was really fun at first. I was making friends, I was getting asked on date dashes and doing all this stuff, and I ended up going on a date dash where I was sexually assaulted, and it was very traumatic for me. I ended up getting really sick. I went to the health and wellness center and reported, because that's what you do. That's what I was told to do ever since I was young. That is just the right thing to do, in my mind. So I reported. You can probably imagine what happened. Absolutely nothing. They questioned the friends I was with before they even asked me, or before I even know that any investigation was even happening. I got an email from the man in the fraternity saying that he was just drunk, he didn't mean anything by it, and he hopes that, like, I don't think any different of the frat. I could give a fuck about the frat. It was me. I was the one affected by this, not the frat. If you want to see that letter, I literally put it on Twitter because I just had to show people that that is just whack. So I just spiraled. My grades were really bad. I didn't go to class, and I lost my position as the social chair. I was a freshman social chair. I was so excited. All I wanted to do was make a difference, and I lost the position. I emailed our advisor saying I already have a semester of credits under my belt because I went to college early. This is not in my character. This is not me. This is a bad thing that happened to me, and I want to keep my position because I need a sense of normalcy. And so that didn't happen, and it was one thing after another, and I just literally started drinking, and I got in trouble with my sorority for drugs, and I just started completely alienating myself from the sorority, the situation, and everything, and I never thought about it again for a long time. And ever since then, I wanted to make a difference. In the sorority, I wanted to be the vice president of standards and accountability. It was called the executive vice president at the time, but I don't know what it's called now, but basically risk manager, in charge of keeping people safe, in charge of holding people accountable. And someone did that to me, and I wanted to do that for other people. But it was so horrible what happened to me with the whole standards thing when I got sent to standards for doing drugs, and I was totally in the wrong, but it was traumatizing to go through that situation. So I was like, I want to change these situations into a more casual conversation rather than feeling like I'm being interrogated by the FBI, let alone freaking people the same age as me. So after being the executive vice president, the first thing I wanted to do was just reform standards, reform the code of conduct, turn the chapter into a safe place for people. I wanted office hours. I wanted to just be a very approachable, understanding person for the rest of the girls, because I thought if all this bad stuff is happening to me, it has to be happening to other girls, and we're always told not to talk about this kind of thing. So that was my goal. I became a Rho Gamma and a recruitment guide, helping freshmen go through recruitment and choose what sorority they want to be in. And obviously there was a lot of girls going in that I can just look at them and be like, Greek life is not for you, like you're not gonna have a good time. It was so hard seeing those girls and just still encouraging them to go through. I couldn't compare my experience to other people, so I just, let people do their own thing and tried the best to find them a fit for them. But of course, like, I went through the same thing. The only thing you want is, I want to be in the house with the hottest girls. I want to be the house where the guys want to hang out with the girls, and like all that stupid shit that I got caught up in, everyone gets caught up in. And yeah, I was like, this is not enough. I tried to be on Panhellenic. I wanted to be the Panhellenic president. I wanted to be like maybe accountability or I don't know what it was actually called on Panhellenic, but I wanted to promote respect. Respect for everything. Respect for men, respect for women, respect for authority. Like, I felt like the Greek system had an overall lack of respect, and I really wanted to bring that back in, because we're all about community service and all about helping ourselves and others and just all this kind of stuff. So I was like, we need to bring respect back, you know? Change is a popular one, this and that, and I was like, I think we just need to go back to the good old RESPCT. I don't even know how to fucking spell that. Anyway, I didn't get the position, so I said, why not just run for my sorority president position, and that's what I did. I ran for sorority president. I ended up winning sorority president. It was actually super traumatic going through that, because there was girls that didn't want me to be president, and there was girls that were campaigning against me. There was people that hated me, and there's always been people that have hated me, and there's always going to be people that will hate you, and I just kind of kept going through it, and the hate kept getting worse and worse and worse, and probably was because I was obviously a piece of shit back then, and weren't we all though? But I just was going through a lot and stuck between the whole, I'm a party girl and I want to promote change. So I can see why people were having trouble being like, okay, this girl all of a sudden wants to make a huge difference, but whatever. So I remember literally being president, and I would have to read drop letters. So when people wanted to drop the sorority, they would say, I want to drop the sorority because I can't afford it. Thank you for everything, blah, 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 blah. Hope to see you in the future. Hope we can all stay friends, blah, 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 bye. And I read those out loud, and they were nothing. Didn't even think anything of it. Sometimes they were so nice, but I remember these two girls, they hated the sorority, and you know, I hated the sorority too at times, but I kind of just kept going. I didn't make a whole spectacle out of things. So I'm sure we all had strong thoughts and opinions about being in a sorority, but like I said, having to read these letters out loud, people saw an opportunity to absolutely rip me to shreds, rip my executive council to shreds, and just be petty. So this is one of the letters that I had. Obviously, I'm sure this person is very different now. They were probably going through the same thing I was going through, but just channeling it very differently. And it's all about just the lack of friendship and the lack of loyalty, and it just being so negative, and how like the organization is just like awful. This says, I wish I could stick it out and graduate with my letters, but unfortunately with our new leader being elected this last month, it's just another sign that I need to be done with this chapter. I refuse to be part of an organization where the people we should be looking up to who lie, talk badly about others, and have absolutely nothing positive to offer. I know exciting for some of you out of position, because obviously this is your peaking point in life, and some of you have probably never experienced people listening to what you have said before, but I would just like to inform you that we listen to you because we don't want to get fined, not because we like or respect you. It's time for some of you to step back and realize that people don't dislike our chapter because some ranking order that was set years ago. People don't like this chapter because it's obvious that it's filled with fake people, and no one wants to be around such ugly individuals. I hope some of you pull your heads out of your asses and realize that if you don't start being kind, honest once you graduate, you're going to be so sad to find out that you have no true friends, and even sadder to find out no one in the real world cares if you were finance chair or whatever for your sorority back in the day. Good luck to you all. I really hope that each of you find your sisterhood, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So that's what I had to read. That was extremely embarrassing, degrading, and literally those people don't want it. They're so worried about not getting fined, but yet don't go to anything. We're not involved, and that's all I was trying to do, was get people involved, get people to show up and care about this goddamn sorority, which in turn, no one cared about it, and good thing they left, because I wish I did, but come on, go with grace. I was still going through it, and I'm not a quitter. I wanted to, it's all I had. The sorority was all I had. Like at that point, being a senior, junior, I didn't know who else to make friends with. I don't know, like I was just so in this bubble that I didn't know how to get out of it, and it's all I had. The girls were mean, there was no respect, and men are just trash. Like the other thing I was going to talk about with my story time was the time that my friend Carmela brought this guy on a date dash, and he was a fucking pissed drunk, just horrible dude who probably at the time was going through stuff too, or I don't even know. But he was so drunk, he put my little in a chokehold. He was like bugging people, knocking into people, just being just a menace. And I was like, hey, how about you drink some water? And I gave him a red Solo cup, and he's like, I don't want your water. And I was like, okay, bitch, then don't drink my water. I didn't really say that, but I was like, okay, sorry. I was like, whatever. And then I went to go pick up the cup, and I was holding it again, and he grabbed my arm, and he just would not let go. I remember having like arm marks and a bruise on my arm and being like, what is going on? Like, I was in shock. I was like, get off me, get off me, get off me. And my date was like, what is going on? All these guys like jumped in, and he fled. He fled, he slammed the door. It was a glass door. It just all broke and shattered, and he ran from the cops because we had ended up calling the cops because he literally assaulted me. I remember getting an email from him and his attorney about like not pressing charges or if I was and all this stuff, and like asking me, he was like DMing me and asking me not to and texting me and saying he's sorry. And I'm like, no, I'm sick and tired of telling men it's okay when it's not okay to do that. And it's so hard to think about all the amazing things that I did at the sorority. Like, I got to go to Chicago, I got to go to LA like 3 times with the sorority. I got to do a lot of fun, amazing things. And it's hard to think about those when like literal traumatic things that affected like my development and affected my self-worth up until now. Like, I'm about to be 25 and I'm still affected by these things that happened to me in college. And of course I should probably talk about them and go to therapy. And I know I've been saying I need to go to therapy, but it's really hard right now. I'm in between like losing my job, getting a new job, like health insurance is so expensive, and it's just like a lot. Life is a lot. Like, the shame of going to college and not being in the Greek system, like, it made me feel like, oh my god, I don't want to be a GED, I don't want to be a GDI. Like, oh my god, I could never. Going back, I'm like, I wish I was able to develop who I really was in college like most people do. But instead I got mean girls and shitty men, lack of like sisterhood, lack of support from the university, from everyone. Like, I was just could not wait to get out of college, could not wait to get out of Pullman. And there's nothing against Wazoo. It was the school that I wanted to go to, but it wasn't the experience that I expected. And if you take anything from this video, it's that I think that we need to abolish the Greek system. No, that's so aggressive. I'm just kidding. I think that we need to restructure the Greek system. I've talked about this before in one of my other videos when I first started YouTube. I really did try to be an advisor, but I'm clearly problematic. So they probably saw that as a liability, which I understand. But I know what it's like to go through the real side of being in a sorority. And I know how to give advice as an advisor to people who are struggling financially, struggling mentally, or just struggling with figuring out how to act when all of a sudden you're supposed to act a certain way now that you're in a sorority and representing something bigger than yourself. Stupid. So dumb. Live your own life, live your best life, make decisions for yourself, and you will be fine. I'm sorry today's video was so dark, but I think I had to talk about this because before I'm able to talk about the super fun stuff, I needed to talk about the truth, what I actually went through, so I'm not pretending like none of this ever happened or didn't happen to anyone else. And I just want you guys to know that you're not alone, and if you ever need to talk to me, or if you ever need to talk to anyone in general, I really, really encourage you to do that. Talking helps, and I've learned it recently, because I talk a lot, just not about the right things. Alright guys, I love you so much, and I hope you have an amazing day. Don't forget to wear a mask, live your best life. Follow me on social media at MaddyVilla_ on everything. Don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, have a great Christmas! Happy Christmas! And I will see you guys for New Year's. Bye!